Hi, hi, everyone! Hi! Welcome to the 13th episode of Weekend Gaming. I'm your host, Erika Byakko. This is a talk show where I have on different guests every week, and we talk about games and everything gaming. My guest today is the peppy and fun cat hacker from Pixel Link, Chiaki Katsumi! Yay!
Hello!
Yeah, do you wanna...
Hello, everyone!
Yeah, wanna introduce
I'm
yourself?
Chiaki Katsumi. Yes.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chiaki Katsumi, Pixel Link's resident cat hacker. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah, I love how bouncy you are. You're like bouncing back and forth. It's so cute. Yeah, small and bouncy. And I'm very excited to have on Chiaki today because you're a big gamer. Yeah, we like randomly, like suddenly, like we'll just like randomly chat back and forth in DMs about games.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I think we'll have a lot of fun chatting today, and maybe I should just like jump into it. And the question we start with on the talk show every time is that we go back to the very beginning. So, what was the first video game you ever played? And this can be the first you remember playing, and you can also answer more than once.
Ooh, this one's a hard one.
Yeah.
I remember that my first consoles that I played were both the PlayStation 2
Ooh.
and the Game Boy Advance SP, but definitely think that the first game I played was Battle for Bikini Bottom on the PlayStation 2.
Battle for Bikini Bottom! Oh my god!
Oh my god. That game was so good, man. I loved it so much. I have not played the remake, so I don't know how faithful the remake is. But I remember playing Battle for Bikini Bottom as a kid. I probably didn't beat it because I was not very good at games as a kid.
Yeah, but like I feel like when you're a kid, you're like even when like playing games or if like any game, you're kind of like button mashing and doing stuff and going places and having fun and like looking at the colors, experiencing the
pretty
sound.
colors. SpongeBob is in there.
Yeah, especially like that's. Did you watch like the TV show as well at the time?
Oh yeah. I did watch the TV show a lot.
Yeah, and it must have been like quite an experience to be able like to control like characters that you recognize from a show, like for your first gaming experience.
Yeah, I remember it was very easy to soft lock yourself with Patrick. I remember there was this watermelon section. You had to kind of like stand up a watermelon and then kind of like jump to get to up a ledge. And it was very easy to soft lock yourself. I think I probably soft locked myself a lot of times there.
Oh god, that's very frustrating when you do that in games.
Yeah. It was a very tricky section. I think I never beat it as a kid.
Yeah, I guess that's like if you ever want to, then there's like one more reason to like maybe check out the remake to like finally conquer the first OG game. But yeah, at the same time, like remakes are scary. Because they can also, like, if you have a very precious game you remember fondly, and then you play a remake, and it's like, it doesn't measure up.
It doesn't feel the same.
Yeah, and the disappointment is huge when that happens.
I mean, I've heard that the remake is very faithful.
Oh, that's good then. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of afraid that it won't be the same. That I'll look at it and I'm like, this does not feel the same.
Yeah, you can kill the nostalgia. Yeah. So it's definitely like a challenge just to like decide if you want to do it or not. And for me, like I've gotten more wary of remakes after the Diamond and Pearl like Pokemon remake that I got recently, because the Diamond and Pearl OG was so good and the remake was
the remake is a thing that exists.
It's a thing, yes.
I mean, I have the Pearl remake, but I haven't played it because I've heard people say that it's so bad, and I just look at it and I'm like,
Yeah, maybe, you might be doing yourself a favor if you don't check it out. It's cute and everything, but at the same time, I feel like for me, it did definitely not measure up to the originals.
It did not feel the same.
Yeah, it just didn't. What about you? You mentioned you also played like the Game Boy Advance. Do you remember what like your first or at least one of the early games you played there were?
The early games that I remember playing, Hamtaro games.
Hamtaro.
Yeah, the one that I remember the most is Hamtaro Ham Heartbreak.
Ooh.
I probably beat that game like 10 times already.
Oh,
Because I love that game so much.
Heartbreak? Is it like a dating game or something?
It's not a dating game.
It sounds like it actually.
It's not a dating game. So basically, there's this villain that goes around destroying everybody's love. And you have to fix the love of everybody. Like family love, romantic love, friendship, you know, all that type of stuff. It's a really fun game. Really fun.
Cute. Hamataro is such like a cute series. Just like all the cuteness like bundled up into one.
So
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. Like I got so addicted to that game. I would just like play it over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, those are like
beating it so many times.
The best childhood games, though. The ones you have like the memory of, like you just spend your entire like year. You spend like a year in a game sometimes as a kid. I feel like that would be like one game you just like keep on redoing all over again.
Oh yeah, it becomes a hyperfixation, man.
Yeah, kinda for real.
Oh yeah.
And speaking of like these childhood games, do you have a favorite childhood game or game series that was like your absolute favorite growing up?
Oh god, that's hard. I did not grow up playing like the usual Mario. Well, I did play Mario as a kid, but I didn't like grow up with like Mario Sonic that much.
Yeah.
I played up the not so probably good games, the cheap games. Yeah, there was this game that I really loved as a kid. It's called Pets Cat 2. Ooh. And despite the name, it's not actually like a game where you take care of a cat, but
you would imagine, yeah.
It's an adventure game where you play as a cat and you kind of have to save the world from this wolf that stole this magic cat. Yes, it is as weird as it sounds.
This is adorable though, and very fitting for you because you are a cat hacker. Yeah. It was
an interesting game for sure. It has like mini games and there's just, like the whole adventure segment. The final boss battle where you literally just throw rocks at a wolf in order to win.
Oh god, throwing rocks at wolves.
Yep, that's how you win.
That sounds kind of intriguing. Like, actually, that's a game that I haven't heard of before, and now I just kind of want to like see gameplay footage or like see what it looks like.
It's definitely an interesting game. If you look at the cover art, you would think it has like the most generic cover art in existence. But you play the game and you get an entirely different game. And it's kind of interesting, actually, because the DS version and the Wii version are kind of different.
Ooh.
So if you get the DS version, you get like a normal game where you take care of a cat and all that.
Ooh, but the other version was like actually adventures and stuff?
Yeah, the Wii version is the adventure one, which was the one that I played.
Yeah. And it makes a little bit sense because like the Wii is like a powerful soft. I guess you can like run more powerful games on it than you can do on a DS.
I just find it interesting that they just made like two entirely different games for like two different consoles.
And then named them like this. Did it have like exactly the same name then?
Yes, exactly the same
name.
Oh
god,
exactly
the confusion. Yeah, I mean, you would think they'll like be able to like at least be like different, like one was a spin-off or something, but like yeah, same game, different console. That's crazy.
It really is. I don't think I ever heard of like any other case like this one.
Yeah, I feel like every time I've heard of stuff like that, like they do like sometimes I feel like game series will do like slightly different things for different console, but at least they will have like different names for them. Like they won't be the same game, but yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, usually if they do like something for a home console and then something for a handheld, they would at least name it differently.
Yeah.
So people would be able to tell them apart. Nah, here they were just like, you know what? Nah, we're just gonna make two entirely different games. We're gonna title them the same, put the same cover art, and let them figure it out.
Yeah, I can imagine the shenanigans from that. Like, this was like, as you say, like not like a highly popular franchise and stuff. But
No.
just imagine, you know, because there's so many kids that game and their parents don't. And imagine a kid going like, "Oh, I want this game," and they're thinking of like the Wii U version, and then their parents go out and buy the DS game because it's like literally called it.
Yeah, because they're called the same thing.
Yeah, and then the kid open the games on like their birthday or Christmas and like, "Yeah, I'm getting the game," and they're like, "Wait, hold up, I don't have a
This ain't the
Nintendo
game that
DS.
I
I only
wanted."
have a Wii."
I don't even have a DS. I have a Wii.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I
no.
feel like there's a lot of parents that are like so like oblivious enough to do that because they literally don't know anything about games. I feel like my mom would have done that totally because she's like, if me or my siblings start talking about games around her, you can just like see her like zoning out physically because she's like not interested in it at all.
Oh my god. Oh, that's the same case with my mom. Like, she would just see like, oh, this is an animal game. She likes animals. I gotta buy that.
Yeah, I think the only game my mom recognizes, like, she's like, oh, it's like the Pokemon thing, like the Pokemons. But that's
Oh, yeah,
also because it's like
Pokemons.
so highly like popularized in media and was like also on TV and stuff. It's like the only reason she recognized it. I'm pretty sure I could actually like go like, do you know what Mario is? And she would be like, is that a name? That's a name, right? I feel like that would be her response.
Oh my god, yeah. That's a name, right?
Yeah.
That's just a name.
Yeah, a name for a person. That's like the
Oh
level
my
of
God.
obliviousness of some parents. It is funny though.
Yeah, it is funny. It's funny.
Yeah. And then now I'm a little bit, since your mom doesn't game, I'm a little bit interested in the next question. Because did you have a go-to game for family, sibling, or friend rivalry? Did you actually like game with your family? Was it like siblings or friends you game with?
I used to game with my older sibling when we were kids. Yeah, we'll play Mario Kart a lot.
Nice.
Yes. The competitive Mario Kart. Unfortunately, my older sibling would always win.
Oh, yeah.
They had the older sibling privilege. I could never win. But there was this other game that we used to play as well. It was called, what was it? We Play or something. It was just like a bunch of mini games for the Wii.
Yeah.
And I would always win at that one.
Oh, nice. So you had like each your own game where you would win. Would it be like a case of you wanting to play the game that you would win at, and they wanted to play Mario Kart, or?
Yeah, it would definitely happen. They would be like, but do you want to play Mario Kart? Because Mario Kart is such a good game. And I would just look at my older sibling like, you just want to play that because you know you can win.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The rivalries can get intense sometimes. And since it was Mario Kart, did you have a favorite character that you want to share?
Oh, Koopa Dry Bones. Koopa or Dry Bones. My favorite.
Oh, that's cute. Dry Bones is such a cute character in the game, I think. And that's like the skeleton like sound sometimes when they move around.
Yeah. I like the small characters because they can go fast.
Yeah, that's true as well. My favorite character
speed.
in like a lot of those games is like Shy Guy because he's just like a small little guy that makes weird sounds.
Yeah, because Shy Guy got added to the newer Mario Kart.
Yeah, it did, which I really was really happy about. Like he's like my go-to character in like Mario Kart and also like the Super Mario Party games if it's in there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Shy Guy is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Just a cute little guy.
In the Mario Kart Party games, have you ever played them? Do you have like a go-to there?
I played the 3DS one. What's it called? Mario Party Island Tour.
Yeah,
I remember I brought my 3DS to school.
Ooh.
And I played Mario Party with some friends. And I don't remember who won actually, because I remember we were playing in the courtyard and we were sitting on the concrete because there were no benches or anything.
Yeah.
And I remember we were just sitting there playing, and then a spider appeared and someone from the other side of the area just yelled, "There's a spider!" And then everybody just immediately got up. The spider just rushed
Oh god!
through the area because, you know, it got alerted by the noise. And my friend, you know, he just stood up because the spider was right next to him, right next to my friend. And then my friend just like immediately stands up when they hear someone yell about the spider. And the spider just rushes across the area. And like someone got bitten that day.
Oh god, yeah.
I'm pretty sure someone got bitten that day.
Yeah, spider
Mario.
If a spider is like terrifying enough for someone to yell about it, you know, I would probably get out of the way as well.
Yeah, someone actually Googled what type of spider it was, and it was like a actually venomous spider.
Actual poisonous? Oh wow.
Yeah, an actual poisonous spider, and I was like, oh, someone got bitten that day.
Oh no. Yeah.
Oh, die. And we never finished our Mario Party game after that.
Yeah. Oh god, Chad. Hopefully, whoever got bit has superpowers. Not yet. Hopefully, you know. It feels like maybe you went to school with a secret Spider-Man.
Maybe someone got powers out of that one. That's just so.
Yeah, and speaking of those kind of like fun memories you have and stuff like that, you know, you often remember games that have good stories. And this can be something you remember from your past or maybe a more recent game. But what's your favorite story in a game? Or a game whose story you really enjoyed if you don't have a favorite?
Let's see. Like a game story or like a memory associated with that?
Oh no, it's like a game whose story you really enjoyed.
I really like the Fire Emblem Awakening story.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, like it's not like groundbreaking, it's not gonna be revolutionary, it's not gonna change your life. But it was such a good story when I first got into Fire Emblem.
Yay.
I don't know, I just really enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed how they introduced the time traveling and everything.
Yeah, I've heard lots of good things about it.
Yeah, it was simple, but it got the job done, right? Like, it wasn't too convoluted that it just made everything so confusing and didn't make you want to even try.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite? Like, that's a game that's like, I feel also is like very well known. And the entire Fire Emblem series is like very well known for like great character designs and great characters and stuff like that. Do you have any favorite characters from that game?
Oh my god. I mean, I eventually came to love most of the cast. I was gonna say all of them, but no, there are some characters I don't like. But most of the cast, I would say my favorite was always Frederick. And I remember, because you can marry people in Fire Emblem Awakening.
Yeah, you can.
I remember when I did my first playthrough, I was like, yeah, I want to marry Frederick because I really like him. He's my favorite.
Your OG husband.
And my cousin was very sneaky about this because he didn't tell me that the game has a very particular mechanic where you have to marry off Crom, which is like the main lord of the game.
Ooh, yeah.
So if you play as the female avatar, right? And you have to have the most relationship points with him because, you know, you interact in the battlefield and you get relationship points. And I didn't know about this, that there was the forced marriage after a certain chapter.
Oh no!
So, yep, I got forced to marry Crom.
Oh no!
Because my cousin didn't tell me what chapter Crom was supposed to get married, so I was forced into marriage with him, and I never got to marry Frederick.
Oh no!
And I was like, I'm in this marriage against my will. Please help.
Yeah, like it doesn't like you're like sitting next to a window, someone looks at you and you're like putting a paper there like, please release me from this marriage.
Please release me. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when it happened. I was so upset. I just looked at my cousin. I was like, how could you?
Yeah. Did you ever like replay it and get the marriage you want, or were just like stuck there?
I replayed that game so many times. I replayed it out of spite. I was like, how dare you do this to me?
Yeah, no, I feel that. If you get locked out of like a romance you want. I feel like every game that has like a romance. Some games is like really easy. You can basically like point at a character and be like, yes, you marry me, and then you're married.
Just point at them. You marry me now.
Yeah, and then you have like other games like, as you say, Fire Emblem. It had more like tricky mechanics, and I think also Baldur's Gate like just comes out where you can romance character has like you can. If you don't build up relationships properly with characters, you can miss their romance. And when it's like not obvious, it can be tricky. Like, yeah, I guess like real life.
It happens for sure. Yeah. I mean, some games tend to be tricky with the romance. I think Harvest Moon is also one of those. Yeah, because I think it was Animal Circus that they have like one romance interest that you have to like finish the entire game and have to do like very specific things to get in.
Ooh,
and I remember seeing what that romance was, and the guy, it was not worth it. I'll tell you. Seeing his personality at the end of the game, as I saw my cousin do this because she was really dedicated to getting that romance, and I saw the end game of that. And basically in Harvest Moon, you can have a kid and everything. They grow up, whatever. And usually the person you marry stays at the farm and helps you. This guy didn't stay at the farm. He just stayed up in his mountain, just pondering life. He never came to visit your child unless it was the child's birthday. Or like once in a blue moon. And I was like, was it worth it?
Yeah. That's a lackluster romance for sure.
Yeah, I was like, what's it worth it doing all that to get him if he doesn't even visit you? The only time he visited you was for your child, not even you.
I would not romance them for sure.
She was like living the single mom life the entire time. Yeah, because he never came to visit. Oh, she was so desperate. She was like, is he gonna show up today? And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Why did you do this?
Yeah.
Why did you actually go through this romance for this?
Yeah, the emotional damage. God, I feel like you get like emotional damage from video games in like the most unexpected way sometimes, and that's like definitely a moment for real.
Yeah. At that point, I would just be sitting there thinking, what was all that grind for? It doesn't feel rewarding.
Yeah, no, for real. God.
Oh God, no.
And that like feels like definitely something that's like the kind of gaming memory that sticks to you, like sticks with you.
For sure.
And do you have any other significant gaming memories? Like, is there one thing gaming related memory that sticks out? For example, something gaming related from your childhood that you still remember years later, or something more recent. If you don't remember anything from that.
There is one associated with a PS2 game that I played. That was called The Dog Island. And contrary to popular belief, it's also not a game about taking care of dogs.
You play a lot of games that you would think you were taking care of animals, but you're doing other stuff.
Yeah, here's the thing. My mom bought games that had any animal on the cover because she knew I like cute animals. So she was like, oh yeah, that game. And then it turns out that game was sad and depressing and very deep.
Oh no.
And I would just be like, I just came here for the cute animals. What's going on? But basically, the Dog Island is you play as a dog and you have to get medicine for your sibling that is slowly dying.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's like, okay. We have a depressing start, okay.
Yeah. And
you go to the island and you meet up the famous island doctor. Who is said to be able to cure every disease. And I have a memory as a kid that apparently the doctor gets all sad and is like, oh, I can't cure your sibling, I'm sorry. And he goes off on his own tangent. He just walks off. And then you find him in this like island place. And he's basically standing at a grave and he's being all sad. And then he basically talks about like his fiance being dead because he couldn't save her. It gets really depressing really quickly. And I remember that as a kid, and for the longest time, that scene was etched in my mind. Like that scene of the doctor just leaving flowers at his fiance's grave, and then just talking about how he couldn't save her. And then years later, I was like, what was that game? What was that one game with the dog doctor? that left flowers at his fiance's grave. And I would ask people about it and they'll be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, was that a kid's game? Like, God, your mom buying that for you?
E-rated for everyone to experience. Yeah, for the longest time, I had that scene in my mind, and I completely forgot about the game growing up, and I was looking for it desperately. What is that game? I remember that scene. It's real, I promise.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And this might be like, maybe the answer to the next question is the same then, because my next question is, what's a tragic gaming memory from your past? And it can be a silly or sad pick, and that was definitely a tragic gaming memory for real.
For real. I would tell a different one about the tragic gaming memory.
Okay.
I could choose from two, but I'll choose this one. So, tragic gaming memory was when I lost my Game Boy Advance SP.
Oh no!
I currently do not have it anymore. When I was a kid, I would usually travel to my parents' hometown. I would bring my Game Boy with me.
Yeah, for entertainment.
For entertainment. And one day, I remember that my dad was gonna sell this car, and I had forgotten my Game Boy SP on that car. And my dad didn't tell me that he was gonna sell that car until he already sold it.
Oh no, the suffering.
So I just asked my dad, like, hey, where's like that car? And he's like, oh, that car, I sold it. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And someone got a free Game Boy SP with that car.
Yeah, hopefully someone who liked gaming, you know.
Yeah.
When the damage was
I never
already
got
done.
over it.
Yeah, did you get a DS eventually then, or did you actually end up getting like a new Advance?
I got a DS Lite eventually.
Yeah.
But I still miss that Game Boy every time I remember that story.
And then like the Game Boy Advance was like such a nice console. I actually liked a lot. It was like very handy and had a lot of good and cool games on it.
A lot of good Game Boy games for sure. But man, like I still find some of my Game Boy games all over my place. I'm like, oh yeah, I could play this if I still had my Game Boy.
Yeah, if you still had it, the god. Yeah, like I also had like a Game Boy Color and a Game Boy Advance growing up. But I think like it was at one point like where I already had my DS. Where my mom was like, with me and my older sisters, like Game Boys, she was like, "Can I take these and give them away?"
No.
So they, I don't think we were like protesting at the time because I didn't really play them that much anymore. And now, like later looking back, I'm kind of sad about it because I wish I could have played it more, but. Yeah, I don't have them anymore. All my Game Boy games and Advance games and like the consoles are somewhere. But I does think she gave it away to like some charity thing that like gave stuff to kids. So at least hopefully someone got to enjoy it. But still, it's I wish I had those.
Oh, that just reminded me of another tragic game.
Oh god, how many?
It just unlocked the repressed memory.
Yeah.
There is what happened to my PS2, which I also don't have anymore.
Yeah, I also have some tragic PS2 memories. We're just unlocking all the gaming PTSD here.
God, we're just unlocking all the memories.
Yeah, what happened to your PlayStation 2?
Okay, so what happened to my PS2 was that when we got the Wii, my mom was like, "Oh, you guys don't play the PS2 anymore." She was referring to like my sibling and I.
Yeah.
And that was not true. We wanted to keep the PS2. She said, "You guys don't play it anymore. You have the Wii," and she gave it away.
Oh no!
Well, no, she sold it to like underprice, like very underpriced.
No.
She sold the PS2 to a lady that proceeded to sell it on a swap meet.
Oh no!
And I was just like, no.
The damage.
The emotional damage was too big.
Yeah, bro. God, how could she? At least it would have been better if she had gotten like value money for it, and maybe she bought you guys some other games. But no, that's a pain. You know, at least you weren't responsible for the destruction of your PlayStation 2.
Oh no!
I was like, it was like I think I look at it a little bit towards the end of the PlayStation 2 lifespan. It's like it wasn't too far before the PlayStation 3 came out, if I remember. But I was playing, I think I was playing Ratchet and Clank 3, like from the OG trilogy. And I've also, I had played that like probably like 2 or 3 times at that point. So I wanted to do like the achievements to get some challenges. And there was like one achievement in the game where you had to like go to a certain place. But it was at 3 a.m. during the night, and that was after my bedtime, you know?
Oh, no.
So I started looking for, like, where... It's like, there has to be somewhere you're able to, like, set the time. And instead of, you know, going in settings menus and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of, like, wires and stuff like attached and like things attached to the PlayStation. maybe it's like a little alarm clock where, you know, if you push enough buttons you set the time.
Oh no!
And I pulled out the memory card.
Not the memory card.
Yeah.
Oh
so
my god.
It lost the ability to save games. And all the save files were gone.
Oh, that is so painful.
Yeah, I don't think I ever confessed to my other siblings or to my mom that I was the one who did it, but I was the one who did it. And
oh no.
Yeah, the worst part was I had like a Ratchet and Clank game that I hadn't even started.
Oh,
so I had to beat that in one going. So I had like 3 consecutive weekends where I spent my Saturdays trying to beat it. And like every time I failed, or my mom would be like, oh, you're not allowed to play it anymore, like you have to go to bed. I had to redo it. I managed to do it eventually, but yeah, that was a fate. It was like Ratchet and Clank deadlocked, I think.
The intense gaming sessions just to beat that game in one go. Oh my god, the memory card.
Yeah, got so many tragic ones.
Yeah.
We have too many tragic gaming memories.
We have too many tragic gaming memories.
And that's like not even like counting like every game that has like a tragic story in it that are like kills all of your favorite characters and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Probably...
They're getting attached to a character and then they just die.
We probably shouldn't get into that, but you know, let's talk about I guess like gaming, not tech stuff, but like in general gaming questions that are not tragic.
Not the tragedy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So in general, when you game, do you prefer slow and steady progress or rushing the main story?
Ooh. I'm a big story person, so I like going slow and steady.
Yeah.
But if it's a game that I've been on for a very long time, I'm just gonna try to rush through it. I'm gonna be like, okay, we need to get to the main point. We've been on this for too long. It's not often when I do that. I am the slow and steady type of person because I like to see all the endings. I need to see all the possible alternatives, all the what ifs. I need to see it all.
I totally get that, and there's like definitely like most games I think is like reasonable. You can do like play through the main story, you can do side stuff, and like you don't have to rush. But then there's like some games have you played or looked at like the new Tears of the Kingdom game?
Oh, I've seen a little bit.
Yeah. And there's like, if you've seen the map, there's like so much to do. And so many side quests, and so like it's just so big that like after a while I was like, I'm just focusing on the main story now. but then there's like also a lot of cool stuff like dragons in the game, and then I see a dragon like, ooh, a dragon.
Oh yeah, there's so much to do, so much content, and you're like, oh god, where do I start? Where do I begin?
Yeah, so I feel, especially nowadays when some games are so big, I feel like it can get a little bit overwhelming, even for like if you like open world and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. They give you too much freedom. They're like, okay, you can do whatever you want. And you're just like whatever.
Yeah.
Like everything. It's like, oh my god, it's too much.
Yeah, like don't give me choices. Oh wow.
You're giving me too much power.
No, I feel
yeah.
I feel that a lot. There's like I feel like most games like I mean as you like you want to go slow and steady, but then you just like you have to rush because it gets too much. And especially if you're streaming a game, like you,
Oh
even though you
yeah.
might like go really slow and steady, like if you're playing it on your own, when you're streaming, sometimes you just like I can't just like be chopping down trees for like 4 hours. You know, got to do something.
Yeah, I feel that. Like
Mm.
when I stream like story games, I feel like I have to go to the main point and I can't like do a lot of side quests. On my own time, I would have been going at every side quest and avoiding the main story so I can get more. I can see everything.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
very true. It's the challenge of being a VTuber, being a streamer.
You feel like you have to focus on the main thing.
Yeah. And another gaming aspect when it comes to like how you approach games and play games. Do you like role playing in games and making choices as a character you have created, like making choices that you necessarily wouldn't make yourself, or do you usually just make choices like as yourself, like you just play the game as yourself?
Oh, that's an interesting question. It depends. I like doing a little bit of both. It kind of depends on the game. Like if the protagonist is, you know, this typical self-insert, then yeah, you kind of have to do it as you would yourself.
Yeah.
But if they have kind of like a set personality, or if I'm going for like a specific like type of run, right? Like if you're going for a kind of like quote-unquote villain route,
Yay.
then yeah, I would be like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna choose things that I wouldn't usually choose myself because there's some fun in that.
Yeah, just steal everything. You know, chop off some heads and just shenanigans.
Just some silly, funny shenanigans. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel that a lot. There's definitely a lot of fun you can have in games, and sometimes you can also just like go in a game like that has like a very set character, and there's like, no, I'm just doing what I want anyway. Yeah, it's a little bit of
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, I was just a little bit of both, yeah. I know there are definitely like some games out there that are more self-insert. They're like, oh yeah, the character's a blank slate. It's kind of like yourself. But I don't know, I kind of like characters that already kind of have like a set personality because you can kind of connect with them a little bit more.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like you're
you
not
kind of get
necessarily
into...
you're not necessarily playing as yourself, but you're like joining their journey.
Yeah, exactly. You're kind of just like joining them instead of playing as yourself.
Yeah.
You're kind of like in the back over there, like, yeah, I'm part of this party too.
And if the storytelling is really good, I actually sometimes like really enjoy this type of games because it's sometimes easier to feel like the feelings of a like video game story if it's not your own story, it's someone else's. And sometimes it's like easier to connect.
Yeah, I can definitely feel that for sure. Like you can definitely connect better if it's not exactly you, but you're playing as another character.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And then single player or multiplayer games, Chiaki?
I play single player for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really play a lot of multiplayer games growing up other than the few games I played with my older sibling.
Yeah.
So I grew up playing a lot of single games. And I think it's because I love narratives a lot. I really like story-heavy games.
Yeah.
Which is why I lean towards single player a lot. Because multiplayers tend to... I mean, not all of them, but a lot of them are kind of limited in the genres that they do.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, it's either a party game or it's a shooter.
Yeah, or like a horror, survival horrors, like...
Yeah, or survival.
They sometimes they have stories, but I feel like usually it's like the story is there and you're kind of just doing your own thing and surviving.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like the story really matters.
I feel like, now that I think about it, like really story-heavy multiplayer games are, I think, also games that you can like play on your own, but you can also do multiplayer if you want to. Like, what I will say, like recently, like Baldur's Gate 3, like it came out like last week. It's on the top of my brain. Like it came out this week, like literally this week, like 2 days ago. But that's like a game you can play like co-op multiplayer. But it's also like based on like D&D, which is like you play with friends IRL, so it's understandable.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, I for sure get why you like single player. It's a weird experience, like the best storytelling often.
Yeah, that's kind of why I lean more towards single player. I mean, there are some multiplayer, well, I guess co-op is more accurate to call them, that I do like because they kind of have more like the story aspect. Like, I don't know if you heard of It Takes Two.
Oh, It Takes Two, yeah, that one.
That one was like a lot of fun. I remember when I played it. Because I just kind of like how they combine like the story and then the co-op mechanics.
Yeah, like that's I think there's like some games like that, and you also have I haven't played it myself, but I know Portal 2 has like the single player and the multiplayer playthrough. So that has like its own story for multiplayer. So I think there's like some like co-op games that do like really good like co-op multiplayer story adventure. But it's like definitely not like the biggest multiplayer genre for sure.
Yeah, it definitely isn't.
Yeah.
And I wish there were more games like that for sure.
Yeah, and I think especially like I kind of wish there was like I haven't played Portal 2 myself yet, but I wish there was more Portal games because I know like those games are like really highly regarded. So I hope like in the future like more games like that.
I've never played Portal either. Not Portal 1 or Portal 2, so...
Yeah, I only played 1.
I've heard they're really good. A lot of people seem to praise them.
Yeah, I would recommend it. Like, honestly, I only played Portal 1. But there's a lot of, like, creative ways you can solve puzzles. And it's a lot of fun. And it's kind of like a shorter game, so it doesn't, like, take that long.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Unless you get like really stuck on a puzzle and you're not looking up recipes, then I guess you could get stuck on some of especially like the harder ones at the end. But it has a good fun like storytelling. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it takes some shenanigans.
Definitely you have to try it out sometime then.
Yeah. And it's like a classic. And you could also just like I think just play multiplayer. Like if it like or after like it takes two like type like co-op story thing. I think like Portal 2 like has like similar vibes, even though it's like a puzzle solver thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Next question though. This is more of like a gaming tech question, I guess. Do you prefer playing with a controller or a mouse and keyboard in general? I know it's like depends a little bit on game type, but if it's a game you can play comfortably with both, what would you prefer?
I'm controller. I'm team controller with the left. I've done the thing that people usually say not to do. I play shooters with controller.
Oh, nice. I did play.
I did play on keyboard. I get like a serious debuff whenever I play on keyboard.
No, I get that. Like you can definitely like play shooters with controllers. Like I recently did Resident Evil with controller myself, which like it just takes a little bit longer to get used to. But then when you do get used to it, like it does become like muscle memory.
I play Mass Effect, the trilogy, on controller.
Oh, nice. I like that.
I can't use keyboard. I have very small hands, so usually when I try to do the WASD and then the shift to usually run, and then the spacebar to jump.
Oh yeah, it's a lot.
It really strains my hands. I can't do that for a long time.
No, I feel that. I feel that a lot. Controllers are just like often made to be comfy. Do you have like a favorite comfy controller then? Because like some of them are a little bit different.
I mean, I know people say that the Switch Joy-Cons are tiny and they're baby, but I have baby hands, so it works for me.
Yeah, it should be good then. Yeah. For
and I also usually use the Xbox controller for PC games, but
yeah, that's like
I
think the Xbox controller is probably like the best optimized for PC, or at least PC games have like the controller setup for that. Personally, I actually also really like. I've never gotten like strained from using the Switch controller as well. So actually really like it. Like even not the Pro controller, just like putting the Joy-Con in the thing that came with the Switch.
yeah, that's what I usually do as well.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
small hands. Let's go.
Small hand team.
Yeah, my other favorite controller is the PlayStation controller because I do game like on my PlayStation a lot. So I'm just used to it. Though it's frustrating when you're like a PlayStation controlled player on PC games, because a lot of games will have like the prompts when you're using a controller, it would be like Xbox controller prompts, and be like, press this button, and then look at your controller, and it's like, yeah, my controller doesn't have that button.
Press X on your controller. You look at your PlayStation controller. What is X?
Yeah, I think the,
Or, like,
the
press
PlayStation has an
Y,
X. There's like
and
some
then you
buttons
look at
it doesn't have. Yeah, real.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. You know, you're adding just another bit of challenge for learning the game.
I can imagine, especially if they like tell you to press like the triangle. And then you're like, that's Y on the Xbox, but the game is like, yeah, press Y, and you look at your PlayStation controller, you're like, what's that?
Yeah, it
I only
does
know
turn out like
shapes.
that.
Oh yeah.
And then another tech question, or not real tech, but you know, it is gaming stuff. Do you prefer buying physical or digital games?
I'm part of the physical team. I like to look at my games.
Oh, so many onto like digital nowadays.
Yeah, I feel like that's the norm nowadays. But I'm old school like that. I like looking at my games. I like observing them.
Nice.
So if I can, if it's a game that is available physically, I'll get it physically.
Like Nintendo games, usually you can get like the physical
Nintendo
version.
stuff.
At least if it's like not the indie games on Nintendo, but like the first party games.
I mean, I tend to get like indie titles as well, physical. Like if it's physical on the Switch, I'm gonna get it physical.
Oh, you can get that. Oh, that's really cool. I like that. Yeah. Do you have like a bookshelf or something like that, where you have like a lineup of like physical game cartridges? Like,
I do have like on a small closet, because I don't have a bookshelf for them. Eventually, I'll get one.
Yeah.
But I do have them like lined up in like this small closet,
oh, nice.
where
I
I
like
have
that.
like all my Switch games, all my physical Switch games.
Yeah. I do admit, like, I buy most of my games digital now just because it's convenient. But
Yeah, it is convenient.
I miss having them physical. Like we moved not that long ago, so I had to like pack my stuff, and I was like unpacking boxes a couple of weeks ago, and I unpacked like the physical games that I actually have, and I was like, it's so nice. It's like having like holding these like physical games, looking at the box art, and like
just looking at the box art. Yeah, you just admire the box art. And I'm like, man, this looks nice.
And even though it would like take up a lot of space, just like imagine if you had like your entire Steam library as like physical game cartridges, and you could line them up and look at it and just like appreciate it.
For sure, yeah. I mean, the thing is, I collect video games. That's why.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I personally really enjoy just seeing them, just looking at the box art, seeing the cartridge or the disc, and it's like, yes.
Yeah, I feel like nowadays, if you do like if you do get consistent or physical, it's like mostly if you collect, I think. Or,
yeah, I don't think a lot of people do it either if they don't collect them.
Yeah, and I don't know how it's like all over the world, but for me as well, in general, it's like also a cost concern, because often when you buy games physicals in stores in Norway, they will be like a little bit more expensive than if you buy the digital version. Yeah.
I think that tends to be the case most of the time. I mean, there are a few exceptions where the game is like the same price digital and the same price physical.
For sure. But some cases, like, it will be like a game that released like 3 years ago and is like already like heavily discounted online. It will be like maybe like 60% off or 70% of what it cost when it was released. And then if you see a physical cartridge in the store, it will be like almost the same price as the release price. So that's like my main thing about it. Releases, but it is the way it is.
It is the way it is. That's fair. For sure.
And then preferred gaming platform. And now I'm talking like PC, console, and mobile.
I know everyone talks about the PC master race, but I'm a console person.
Oh, yay!
I know everyone's like, oh yeah, PC gaming. I'm sorry, I grew up with consoles. They have a soft spot in my heart, so...
Yeah. What's your favorite consoles right now then?
I would say the 3DS and the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, Nintendo consoles. Yeah.
Yeah. I play a lot on Nintendo consoles. If I had kept my PS2 for longer, then maybe it would be up there.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah.
I totally get that. I'm like actually like when it comes to any AAA game title or any like game title that is like simultaneously released on the PlayStation and the PC, I will always get it on the PlayStation. Because I just like gaming on like PlayStation and also play Nintendo games as well, and those you can't really play on PC, so you have to play them on Nintendo consoles.
Yeah. I don't know, I mean, the thing is with playing on a console, if it's a home console, you can just lie on your bed and just play on the TV.
Yeah,
you don't have to be
that's true
sitting
as
at your
well.
desk and like, you know, PC gaming. So
yeah,
comfort wins this one.
yeah, the portability, like if you played like the Nintendo consoles now, like the Switch and the DS also has like amazing portability, so you can just like take your games with you on the go, which I think is like it's hard to beat.
I know someone's gonna say like, oh, but the Steam Deck portability. I mean, yes, but that's a console, so
yeah.
exactly. But yeah, the portability also, that if you want to just take your game with you, you can take it with you.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
This is nice.
And then, like, despite that, if you don't do too much PC gaming, you might not have too much opinions about this because I don't think the Nintendo Switch really does, like, or Nintendo games doesn't really have, like, a lot of achievements. What do you think
Yeah,
about
not really.
game achievements? Do you usually go for them if you're playing Game Pass then? Or are they just kind of there?
I mean, I do play quite a lot of games on Steam, so I have seen like the game achievements. Yeah, I mean, I look at them, and depending on how many they are, and depending if they're not very repetitive, I might go for them. But it kind of heavily depends if I like really enjoyed the game.
Yeah, you're just looking for more excuses to play it. That's usually when I start paying attention to the achievements. Is if like I've done quote unquote everything, but you haven't done all the achievements. You're like, oh, what are these things? I have a reason to play now.
Yeah, like if you finish a game and you're still like wanting more, you just look at the achievements like, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, But it kind of depends because some achievements are pretty ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, do this thing like 200 times, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, have you like 100%ed any game achievements on purpose like the last years that you can remember?
Oh my god, I think I did do one, but I can't remember the game from the top of my head. It was a long time ago.
Yeah,
I don't think I tend to 100%
yeah,
them.
that's understandable. I think I've only 100%ed like one game in the last like 5-10 years.
Yeah, I think I only 100% like one or two as well. Usually I don't go for them, but it kind of depends, really depends on like what the achievement is and if I really enjoyed the game, like to the point that I would do even the achievements.
Yeah, for me it was like it wasn't a Steam game, or it's going to be on Steam now, but it's like Holocure. But soon it's not going to be 100% again. Now I have an excuse to play it because honestly, after I 100%ed it, I was like, what do I do now? Like,
oh, now what?
Yeah, it's like, now what? And then I kind of felt empty inside. And it was also funny because when you 100% this game, I think it's like you get an achievement called like, was it like touch some grass or like what have you done? It was like basically achievements like maybe you should stop playing achievement.
Go touch some grass.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was like literally something like that. I can't remember exactly. So someone in chat might know, but it was funny. Oh, get some help. Was it that? Was it get some help? Yeah, it was something like that along those lines.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The game devs really just be calling you out.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, those are kind of like, I like when there's like funny achievements.
Oh yeah, they definitely add charm to the game for sure.
Yeah, and speaking of like, you know, getting 100% in a game, is there a gaming moment you're particularly proud of? Like something you did in a game, it's just like something you remember that you're proud of.
Does beating a certain game count?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I guess one that I can think of is when I beat Super Meat Boy.
Oh, yeah.
It is one of those platformers where precision is key.
Ooh, yeah,
And
that's
I
like
am
a
a very
super
impatient
challenging.
person. I am particularly impatient. I don't like playing the waiting game. So when it comes to like, oh yeah, you have to like be pixel perfect, because if you're one pixel off, you're dead.
Yeah.
So beating that game was super hard. It took me forever, but eventually I beat it. I remember in the last level, my heart was racing.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh god, please let me have this one.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, when just like talking about like 1 pixel, like, if you die or if you survive, that's like when your like hands can get sweaty, your heart start beating, and you're like
Yeah.
the really adrenaline rush when you beat it. It's like,
For
insane.
sure, yeah. Your heart just starts racing like, oh god, if I'm 1 pixel off, it's all over. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something to be proud of. I actually haven't played those games myself, but I've seen gameplay of it. And they are extreme. If you haven't seen it, chat, it's like extremely challenging platformers where you can die very easily. It's kind of like a, I would say like Hollow Knight has some like insane like platforming moments like later in the game, and that's like kind of like what the entirety of Meat Boy is.
Yeah, Super Meat Boy is all about the precision. And there's people that speedrun this game, and I'm like, no.
Oh yeah, like people who speedrun like the crazy platformers. I just look at it and go like, oh my god, what is the muscle memory? Like you have to train to get like the muscle memory for that. That's insane.
Yeah, the insane muscle memory to remember like exactly where you need to land and like how much inputs you need to actually do just to get the exact spot the fastest way possible. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
That is too much. Oh god, no.
And this next question might be like the same answer, because what is the most satisfying game you have completed? Was that Super Meat Boy? Or was that something else?
Let me see, was it Super Meat Boy? Not the top of my head. It might be, okay, maybe not for the best of reasons that this was the most satisfying game I completed.
Ooh.
But when I finished Fire Emblem Fates,
Oh, yay.
the reason was not because I was like, oh yeah, it's such a hard game and whatever. No, it was because I just wanted it to be over.
You want it to be over? Oh my god.
I wanted it to be over because I didn't like Fire Emblem Fates. I was very disappointed. And the thing is, this game was heavily promoted as like, oh yeah, it's gonna be great because they have a mangaka doing the story and like, wow, it's gonna be amazing. But I'm stubborn like that, so I'm like, I need to play all the routes. I need to see if it gets good at one point.
And then you were torturing yourself over and over again if you didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, I was like, ugh. I was just like, I have to play every single path just to see if maybe it gets good. And after it was over, I was like, oh, it's finally over.
Yeah, thank God it's not played anymore.
It's finally over.
Did you have like I'm always curious like when it comes to the Fire Emblem games though, because of the characters. Did you have any character you did really enjoy in the game?
I liked Jacob, which is the butler guy.
Yeah, the butler.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty neat. I don't remember if I ever married him, because I think I only married like one character per route. And I don't remember who I married in each route, to be fair. But yeah, I thought Jacob was pretty neat. That's the reason. I don't know if you know that Fates has like 3 different paths, right?
Yeah, it has like the was it the Conquest? And then I don't remember the names. It has like the Western style like route, and then like the one with the Japanese style characters, and the third one I'm uncertain about because I haven't played it myself.
Oh yeah, the Revelations. Okay,
Revelations,
so the short summary. You go with your blood family, that's Hoshido. Or you go with your adopted family, that's Nor, that's Conquest.
Yeah, that's the Western style one, right?
Or you pretty much said, we bail and you don't choose anyone, and that's Revelation. Yeah. I really like the aesthetic of Conquest, so I went with Conquest.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where Jacob is, right? He's a Conquest exclusive character, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he might actually be on all the routes.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I think only like the one character from Conquest is not technically a butler, but he's kind of like your servant or something. He is like Conquest exclusive, but Jacob, I don't think so.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my experience from that game, I only know the characters and not like necessarily the story, because I played Fire Emblem Three Houses and then I played Fire Emblem Heroes. Though Jacob in Fire Emblem Heroes is sadly not a good character. Oh my god.
Yeah, they did him dirty.
Yeah, he was.
I think it was like one of the first they released in Heroes. If I
I think he was one of the characters that was available from the very start, but he was never good. I've been playing it like off and on since it released, and like Jacob was be a character. Like I was like, oh, his character art in the game is very cool. And I was like, oh, his character design is pretty cool. And then I like looked up builds for him, and they was like, do not build this character. Do not invest in Jacob.
Oh gosh, yeah, it happens. Oh, Fire Emblem Heroes. Ooh, I remember that game.
It's still going.
When I used to play it. It's still going. It's
I haven't logged in like a month though, so it's like, yeah.
I forgot when was the last time I logged in. It kind of lost me when they introduced mechas.
Oh, I think they've gone past that now. There's like they add a lot of crazy stuff, but some of the they have a lot of OG characters in Fire Emblem Heroes, and some of the like the OG the new like original characters for that game does have actually pretty cool designs. Some of them are crazy though.
I know there was like this cow guy, a bull. I don't know what he is.
Those guys, the animal transformation people. Yeah, there's like a cowgirl as well, technically, and like a cow guy. And Chad, you're probably very confused. Don't worry about it.
I think I only saw them because I saw on like Twitter that there was this like exercise video that they released for Fire Emblem Heroes.
Did? I didn't see.
They did. That's how I found out about like the cow guy, and I was like, who is this?
Wow. I just know it's like a lot of fan service sometimes. Like they do like a bride and groom banners like around Valentine's Day, so like suddenly you get like characters from previous games in like bridal dresses and stuff like that, or they will do like Halloween costumes. That's like why I enjoy that game so much. It's like easy tactics for your brain and fun like character designs, and like putting great characters and their favorite characters in their fun outfits.
Yeah, for sure. Since you played Fire Emblem Heroes, do you ever understood the gacha from that game? For the life of me, I could never figure out the gacha.
I've only ever done the free gacha. The only thing I care about is like you want the orbs. You want the orbs from doing the free stuff, and then you spend the orbs on the banners. But the thing is, with Fire Emblem Heroes, they keep on changing the pull mechanics. And like sometimes like there was a period that even if you used free currency, if you did 40 pulls on a banner, which like you had to like kind of grind and maybe have like some stuff saved up from before the banner came around, but if you used 40 like pulls on a banner, you could like get to choose one of the 5-star characters on the banner for free, or like on your 40th pull. Then they like locked that behind a paywall suddenly, only if you got like a monthly pass. So that's the confusing thing about that game. It's like they kept on changing how the pull mechanics work and stuff like that. But you get like a free pull on each banner usually.
Yeah, I do remember the free pull, but I remember when I wanted like a 5-star, I was like, how does the pity even work? Because they kept changing it so much.
Yeah, the pity was like the thing they kept on changing all the time.
Yeah, I always try to figure it out, and at one point I just gave up and I just kept like using my orbs, like maybe I'll get it eventually.
Yeah, that's basically the way to play, I feel like, after a certain point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the waifu and husbando collection game.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I use it for now. Just to also because I feel like I've invested so much time that I can't, like, even though now I haven't played it for over a month, I don't want to uninstall it from my phone because I've invested time at it, and it's now I like keep it for the collection.
The time investment, you just look at it and you're like, I can't delete it, all the time I spend on that.
Yeah, even though like that's one of the type of games, like that's the problem with gacha games, is like this one has like power creep. At least like I feel like sometimes it will like power up older characters, but I hate it when games have like power creep. So if you don't play for half a year and then you come back and you play against other people and you're like, oh, I can't do anything anymore, I'm just dead.
Yeah, because if you train like a team, right? And then you don't come back to the game in a long time. And then there's, a bunch of new characters. And then your team becomes useless because there are more powerful characters out there. And I'm like, bro.
Yeah, for real, for real. It's bad in that game, which is why I almost never play like the modes where you play against other players. I almost only play the like AI modes because those are usually fine.
Yeah.
You haven't played for a while. Yeah.
I mean, I did the tournaments sometimes because they gave you like a special character after a certain point.
Oh yeah.
But it was always an issue because the power creep, man.
Yeah.
I'll have like a team and then just suddenly it wouldn't be good because guess what? There are like 20 new characters and they're stronger than your team. So I'm like,
and
bro.
you have like a 3% chance to pull one of these new 5-star character or wrestler out of luck.
Yeah.
And that's that's a game feature which brings us over to my next question. The first one is the positive one, though, which is any game features you would like to see more of in games. And I'm going to give some examples for you and also chat. So an example of a game feature can be things like weapon crafting, day-night cycles, puzzle solving, mini games within games, color customizations on things like weapon, armor, clothes, side quests, etc., etc.
Okay. For me, I really like morality system in games.
Morality systems. You don't see a lot of that.
Yeah, it's such an interesting concept, especially when they do it in the way that, for example, if you choose like choices that would make you a bad person, and then the characters notice that you're changing as a person, or your character has like this physical appearance, it changes. Like when they start becoming evil. I think one example of this is Mass Effect, how Mass Effect did it.
Yeah.
When you went renegade, I think this was in the second game, if I remember correctly. Your scars would start to like shine red, your eyes would like glow red when you start leaning towards renegade. I thought that was a really cool detail.
Yeah.
And like people notice like the way that you're acting. And honestly, I think it's such a cool thing to do in a game. You feel that your decisions actually impact. And like everyone else, like all the other characters notice that you're changing.
Yeah. I feel like so many games, like they add like quote unquote bad options. Or like you can go like an evil playthrough, but the side characters like just treat you like as the same as if you were doing like a hero playthrough, like doing all the morally good decisions. So definitely would be fun to see, like as you say, like more morality. That's something I haven't thought about. But, like it's like really cool that we don't see a lot, and like it's so weird because I feel like it'll be fun. Maybe it's like harder to implement. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. But there's just so much potential. Like if you have an open world or, one of those more like story-heavy RPGs where characters are really important. I feel like having a morality system and just like expanding upon it would be such a really good thing.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And I think it's like also some games are like, I think if you add that, you also kind of have to like add opportunities for the players to go like really evil, for example, because if you can go really good, you want to go like in the opposite direction. And not many games like allow you to be like truly like evil. Like you can like steal stuff in a lot of games, but you can't go on a complete murder spree.
You can't go all out.
Yeah, which is like, it's always like, even though I don't pick that option every time, like when I game, like I'm not evil Erika, but it's nice. You gotta like give props to the game devs when they do add it, and that's one of the things I really like about the new Baldur's Gate, is that they have like an option for you to go like completely evil, absolutely crazy evil. Yeah, they have a, if you haven't heard about it, like when you play Baldur's Gate, you can start as like a blank slate, which is what they recommend people do for your first playthrough, where you can just like go in as a regular character, you're customized and everything. And then you can also play Origins, is what they call it. Like you can, some of the side characters, you can like play as them, and then you play like their story. And then they added an Origin, which is called the Dark Urge, which is basically like you can customize it and make it into yourself, but you have a unique backstory. and you get like a lot of extra like options in dialogue and stuff you can do. And basically, what you have an urge to kill and murder.
Oh my god!
And you can choose to resist that, or according to what I read in like a developer interview, you can go completely crazy and just start killing all your party members and go like evil extreme route. So yeah, I gotta love when games do add that. And apparently, I think in that game, if you do start killing and stuff, I think characters will start like reacting differently to you. But I haven't, as I say, I haven't tried that playthrough, and it has only been out for 2 days. So yeah.
But yeah, that's honestly really interesting for sure. I mean, honestly, the only games that I can think of with a morality system that's kind of like that is Mass Effect and Undertale in a way.
Yeah, and I think someone in chat was mentioning KOTOR. I think it's one of the Star Wars games, perhaps. And then also Infamous, I think someone in chat also mentioned. So there is also hi Lottie, who was saying hi to us in chat.
Also, hi.
Yeah, who's Chiaki's genmate in Pixel.
Yeah.
Oh, KOTOR is Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah, it was a Star Wars game, I remember correctly.
Oh, interesting.
So there's some games out there with it, but it's very few.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
Yeah, and Disco Elysium, according to chat as well.
I've heard of that one, but I'm not sure what it is about.
Yeah, I've heard about it as well, but I'm the same as you. I'm not that certain what it's about, but I've heard the name.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, there's that. But on the flip side, is there any game mechanics that you dislike, that you would like to see less of, or that you absolutely even hate, perhaps? And game mechanics can be escort missions where NPC move at snail pace, unskippable cutscenes, conversations, key items you can't get rid of, missions on timer, EXP gear grinding, weapon durability, loot drop rates, all those kind of mechanics.
Oh, I think I have two that kind of tie for the first spot.
Ooh.
Yeah. I would say it's kind of ironic considering I play Fire Emblem and I enjoy the Fire Emblem games, but permadeath. I know permadeath is like a signature thing of Fire Emblem, but boy, does it annoy me.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of permadeath. Especially Shadow Dragon, the DS version. They have this mechanic. It's kind of like permadeath, but also not entirely. Where they'll have you sacrifice characters in order to get better ones, quotation marks.
Oh no!
And I don't like doing that.
Your precious companions!
Yeah, it's like, just sacrifice that weak companion. You get a better one later. And I'm like, no! I want to arrive to the boss and have the entire party in here.
Oh, God, emotional damage. Yeah, that's the reason why when I played Fire Emblem Three Houses, I played without the permadeath.
Yeah. I mean, I played the GBA games and the permadeath, you can't really remove it there. Yeah, when I see someone die, it's like, man, if only I had predicted that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the other feature? The ties.
The other one is like the NPCs, the NPC escort missions, where the NPC, the NPC AI is like the dumbest thing ever, and you have to escort them, and they just keep going off on the rail, and I'm just like, oh God, please.
I honestly don't know why they're so heavily a thing in the game, unless it's like a very big like story reason it has to exist, because that's the one of the two things that like the most guests that I have on here answer like the slow NPC escorting as one of the, and, like for me as well, like the slow escort missions where you have to walk and you can't run, that like drives me up the wall.
Yeah, it's just, it's either they're slow or the AI is really dumb and they would just go off and do their own thing, and you're like, bro, please.
Yeah. Especially when they're like fragile and they can easily die if you're not paying attention.
Like they have like 5 HP or something, and someone just like kills them one hit, and you're like, God,
yeah. So please, if any game devs are listening, stop it.
Please stop.
Make them run at your pace, and then make them immortal. probably
make them
take the
immortal.
tension out of it, but it would also be less annoying.
Yeah, it would also be less annoying. Just straight out make them immortal. They
Yeah.
can't die.
Yeah. And then speaking of, things we dislike in games, do you have a least favorite game genre and why? Probably like not necessarily to dislike it, but just the one you played the least.
First person shooters.
FPS, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not an FPS person. First of all, I can't aim.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
That would be a big
second
reason
of
to
all-
not play that.
Yeah, just straight up, I can't aim. Second of all, a lot of them tend to trigger motion sickness on me.
Yeah.
So I just get dizzy trying to move the camera and move the gun, move the camera, move the gun. I'm just like, oh god, I can't play this anymore.
Yeah, that's very understandable. Motion sickness while you're gaming, it is really, really, really bad. It's like really frustrating.
For sure, yeah. So yeah, first person shooters are probably the game genre I play the least.
Yeah.
Like third person shooters I'm fine with.
Yeah, I was about to ask if you
like
like the third person shooter, because they're different. Like that definitely feels very different.
Yeah.
Motion blur is evil, yeah, motion blur. And then there's like motion blurs in games that aren't first-person shooters. And some... It's good if you can disable it, but there has been cases of like some newer game releases where you can't even like properly disable it even. And I hate that. I hate that so much.
I honestly always ask myself, who actually asked for motion blur?
Yeah!
I've never met a single person that has said like, yeah, I want motion blur in my game.
Yeah, or be like, motion blur, let's go! Like really
Motion
excited
blur,
for
let's
it.
go! Activate it to the max!
Yeah. I feel like either people hate it or they're indifferent. Oh, Chiaki? Chiaki! I think Chiaki died! Oh my god. Motion blur! Motion blur! Literally killed her! Oh my god! No! Yeah, that was the timing! Oh my god, let me see. Chiaki! Yeah, motion blur is dangerous. Chiaki! We'll chill here and see if she comes back. Hopefully, maybe motion blur. Motion blur deleted. It heard what we were talking. Maybe motion blur has its own entity, its own personality. And it doesn't like being criticized. Though I should disappear then shortly as well, because I was not saying nice things about motion blur. Yeah. Do we have a reanimate spell? That's what I'm trying to find out. That's what I'm trying to find out, Chad. Maybe it's also like a connection lost. It can happen. It can happen, unfortunately. Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. Yeah, I'm trying to message. Don't worry, chat. And while we're doing that, is there anyone? Actually, I wanna do a poll here. I wanna do a poll here while we're waiting for Chiaki to come back. And this might be the most one-sided YouTube poll I have ever seen. Because I'm going to ask you guys, do you like motion blur? And you have to answer yes or no. And I want to see what the percentage of yes to no here is. Is there any one of you that actually like, yeah, motion blur? I want to see. So please go vote in that poll. 96! Oh my god, some people have already voted.
Okay.
Check your back, yes!
Yeah, my lights went out for a second.
Oh god, yeah, it was like joking with chat. Like probably motion blur got so popular, like got so powerful, it like gained sentience and it like erased you from the stream.
Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh god, they noticed that we were talking bad about motion blur. They just wiped me.
Yeah, and struck your entire house electricity apparently as well. I'm running a motion blur query in chat right now, a poll to see how many actually liked motion blur, and it's actually 14% of 80 people that have voted so far are answering that they like motion blur. So
That is insane.
I thought it was going to be like 95 or higher, but this is actually like
That is wild. What are these statistics?
I mean, if it's like an opt-in, opt-out feature in a game, it's not too bad. But in games that like doesn't let you turn it off, that's when it's like really bad. Yeah, oh, welcome back, Chiaki!
Okay, I have returned. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think you're not on screen though.
Oh, wait, did it not work? I tried
Yeah.
connecting to the thing.
Yeah, might need to wait a little bit until it gets back. Sometimes it just takes a while to load in. But you're
my
patient, right, Chad? Chad is very patient.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that. I was just wiped out of nowhere.
No, that's like things. You know, I feel like sometimes it's not a real VTuber stream if we don't have a little bit of scuff, and this is the scuff of today's stream. Yeah. Oh, there you're coming back.
God.
Poof.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
tiny.
Small.
Small. I'll make it bigger.
Up.
There. Oh, you're a little bit too short now. There you go. Nice, nice.
There you go.
Now we're
What
back.
did I learn? Not to talk about motion blur.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the final result of the poll is that 84% does not like it, but 16% do like motion blur.
That's a very high percentage, to be fair.
Yeah. But you go you! And a lot of game developers are listening to that 15-16% because a lot of games have motion blur.
Yeah. Oh gosh. You're gonna listen to the 15-16% that said that they do want it.
Yeah, for real.
Oh god.
But yeah, let's move away from that was like FPS gaming to stuff we actually really enjoy in games. So, do you have a video game or game series in general that you really enjoy for the music? So it doesn't have to be one that you like really love for the story or stuff like that, but like the music in particular you enjoy.
I mean, I love Fire Emblem music, but like from a game that I played relatively recently that I really enjoyed the music was the original Xenoblade Chronicles, like the first Xenoblade Chronicles.
Oh, yeah.
So the music was so good.
Yeah, I've heard other people like mention Xenoblade for music. Yeah. That's a good pick. Is it like the type of game where you could just like find the playlist on YouTube or on Spotify and just have it on in the background?
Yeah, I found like a few playlists of the OCT, and I was just like, yeah, I gotta replay that. Gotta replay the Xenoblade music.
Yeah, that's so good. I like that. And then on the flip side, do you have a video game or series that you really enjoy for the art in particular, like the art style?
Oh, art style. Oh, there's a lot of like art styles that I really like. A specific one. I really like the art style that Hi-Fi Rush used.
Oh yeah, that one. Hi-Fi Rush, like kind of like the 3D like looking style.
Yeah, it kind of like has like a 3D comic art style.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly really like I feel like it's very unique in a way. It makes it like stand out.
Yeah, it did. Like it was very like pops. Like it was an art style like really like pops, and I think it caught a lot of people's attention when it came out. Like the art style was definitely part of that.
I would say yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There are definitely like a lot of like art styles that I've seen in games. And I'm like, oh, I want to play that because I like the art style.
Yeah, just for look, and it's like such an important part of like catching people's attention. Like just for like drawing people in at like first glance.
For sure. I mean, I'm very simple-minded when it comes to games that I want to play. If I see pretty art, I'm gonna be like, yes, I want that game.
Yeah, I like that. And speaking of games that do draw you in, is there an upcoming game you're anticipating. And now we're talking about your most anticipated upcoming game. It has to be announced, but it doesn't have to have a release date.
Let me see. Most anticipated game. I'm trying to think of like if there are any like big mainstream games that I've been looking forward.
Give me a small game as well.
Small game as well. Oh god, what's the name of this indie game? I saw like this indie game and I kind of like the idea of like it kind of made fun of like the gaming industry and it kind of like took inspiration from RPGs, like old RPGs, kind of like Earthbound.
Yeah.
Oh, what's it called? It's like Crash the Industry or something. I forgot the name.
Chat might know. Chat might know.
I'm trying to look it up. As I forgot the name. Crash the Industry. Yeah, Crash the Industry on Steam.
Industry. Ooh, oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
It's currently on early access, but I'm kind of waiting for like the full release.
Yeah, sometimes you definitely just want to went to full release. You can get the entire experience.
I'd say that's like one of the ones that I'm anticipating the most for sure.
Yeah, I like that. There's so many like small indie games out there that's like it's not always the AAA games that like you're the most excited for.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. And then speaking of like dream games and anticipated games, if you could have any game or any remake or like anything, what would be your ultimate wish for game, no matter how unrealistic it might be?
Ooh. I could say the typical joke because I like Earthbound. I could say Mother 3 translation. But
yeah, that's been around on the internet for a long time.
The Mother 3 translation. But no, it's not that. I would love a remake of Sacred Stones from Fire Emblem.
Oh, yeah.
I really, 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 really love Sacred Stones, and I would love to see it in crispy HD graphics.
Yeah, that's one of the really early ones, right?
GBA.
Yeah. Is there anything, like, since we're talking about, like, ultimate wish for game, is there anything that you would add to that game that wasn't in the original? If you could, like, decide, like, more features to add, or, like, stuff to add, or anything that would, like, just improve it if you ever got a remake.
Honestly, I would just make the supports easier to achieve because GBA games, the support conversations were pretty much at this point RNG. It's like, yeah, maybe on a good day they would decide to talk to each other, but maybe that day is not today. So getting them to talk to each other was pretty much a big pain.
yeah, that would probably be a good thing to improve, I think.
Yeah, honestly, maybe cutscenes for the big moments in the story, because Sacred Stones does have like a lot of good moments, and I feel like adding cutscenes would definitely illustrate those moments better.
Yeah, so it'll make it a little bit more cinematic then, I guess.
Like more cinematic, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like it as an idea. And it's like always like nice. Like I think all of us probably have like some older games that we would like. I wish I had a remake. I wish I could play it on like modern consoles, modern graphics. And for me, like my pick for that would definitely be like the original Ratchet and Clank Trilogy for the PlayStation 2, because it's like such a great game series that has like a great like sense of comedy, but the graphics are older. Of course, I think it'll be hard for like new people to get into it, and it's like also really hard to play the old PlayStation games on modern consoles. Often, like sometimes, like it's not even a way to play it easily. So that's like my dream remake, though it's probably never going to happen. It would be.
I mean, who knows? They did release that Ratchet and Clank game on Steam, didn't they?
Yeah, I think that was more like a PC port, though.
Yeah. But maybe if that does good, they might go and do remakes.
Yeah, I hope so. To be fair, though, Insomniac, the studio that does that, is like busy with like all those Marvel games as well. But you know, gotta hope.
Gotta believe in the dream.
Yeah, and that's why it's like always fun to talk about like ultimate wish for games, because there's so many games that deserve remakes or deserve sequels, or just like games that haven't been made yet. That's like fun talking about. Like being able to make that.
I would say especially with like older games, right? Because you know, older games sometimes had mechanics that were kind of hard to grasp, or they were made artificially difficult by just making the mechanics not work that good. So a remake would be able to make them more accessible for people, I feel.
Yeah, adding some like quality of life features. I feel like there's a lot of older games that like could have benefited from like quality of life features that a lot of modern games have.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and also like just from an accessibility standpoint, like there's a lot of like accessibility that makes games easier to play for people that have like reduced eyesight or have other things that makes gaming harder. The modern games are like way better at adding accessibility. So I feel like yeah, modern remakes or ports that has like good features it would be great. It would be great.
Yeah, usually they have the quality of life features that really help. That, you know, back in when the game first released, they didn't have that.
Yeah, we've seen some like really good remakes as well. Like Resident Evil 4 remake was a great remake. It felt like a really good thing to play, and I think like also on the Nintendo side sometimes they do good remakes and ports. Like Heart Gold, Soul Silver, even though like it's been a while. It's been a while since like that's the game that I want to remake or a port of Heart Gold, Soul Silver now. But that was like such a good remake of the Heart and Gold, or like yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Pokemon, like, other than, you know, the fact that Pokemon Gold got into Heart Gold, I don't know if they would make anner remake or they would just straight up port them.
I would take a port of that though. That was like such a good remake.
Oh yeah, the Pokewalker.
Oh yeah. There's just a lot of fun shenanigans on the Pokemon side, and also like Pokemon Black and White. I hope we get a remake of that, and there is like a Pokemon thing in 3 days now, on the 8th.
Oh,
yeah, Nintendo is having like a... It's not a Pokemon Direct. What did it call it? It's a Pokemon presentation.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, my copium for that is like do something with Black or White or Heart Gold Soul Silver so I can play it on the Nintendo Switch. I would even take a straight up port, just like let me play it on the Nintendo Switch and I would be happy. Pokemon Presents. Yeah, that's it. Pokemon Presents.
Yeah, Pokemon Presents. Honestly, I would take that. Let me play Pokemon White on the big screen.
Yeah, just like let it, because I think you can't play it on the Switch. Neither of them.
No.
Yeah, those are two of like the most inaccessible titles. I think there's like a lot of Pokemon titles that are like basically inaccessible unless you have like the older consoles and the older...
Well, you know, unless you have the physical game and it's not, you know, overpriced like most Pokemon games are.
Yeah, that's like I'm extremely happy that I still have my 3DS, because I have like a lot of those DS and 3DS titles like for Pokemon. I'm never getting rid of that, even though I haven't played them in years.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, I still have my copy of Pokemon White as well. And then I look at the prices and I'm like, oh god, good thing that I kept mine.
Yeah.
Oh, did you ever got to play Pokemon Black and White 2?
Oh, I never played it. Did you?
No.
Neither?
Yeah. Like, I tried looking for it as well because I wanted to play them, and then I saw how overpriced they were, and I was like, ugh.
It's actually not even kidding. It's one of my biggest Pokemon game regrets because I've heard so much good things about it. I've heard like it was actually like good sequel. So I really want. That's also why I just really have so much copium for like a Black and White remake, because I hope they would make like if they made a remake of it or like a port, just let us play like Black and White and then Black and White 2 like in one or something like.
I have the same regret as you, because every time I look at that game, I'm like, man, I wish I got it. I wish I got it at the time.
And Black and White is like probably my favorite Pokemon main game for like the actual story, because I felt like they did a good job on the story on that one, and then like after that it started going like a bit downwards.
Oh my god, same. Same. I feel the same way. I think Pokemon Black and White, they got like the best story out of all Pokemon games.
Did you play Pokemon X and Y afterwards as well?
Yeah.
I felt like the Pokemon Black and White to X and Y, unless there's a Pokemon game in between I'm forgetting about. But like the change from like the serious and like good story in Black and White to the X and Y felt so underwhelming. It felt like they were just like a little group of garden kids out on an adventure, and then you beat the bad guys, and suddenly there was like a parade. It was very weird.
Wasn't there like this one guy that had like this baby, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this baby is like my last hope for humanity or whatever."
That was like the only touching part in the story, actually, even though it was crazy.
Yeah, you're just like, the story is so silly, and then you just have that, and I'm like, what is going on at this point?
Yeah. Did Exxon like even have a story?
One guy, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was like the one guy with the float, like, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
That was the really weird part. But it was,
yeah, they had this villain, didn't they? It was not him, some other villain.
there was like the leader of the bad guy team, I think.
Very specific, the leader of the bad guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's like was it Team Flame? I don't even remember. This is like how unmemorable it was.
Yeah, it was like some guy with orange hair. He had like wacky hairstyle.
Flame hair. Team Flare. That's it. Team Flare leader.
I completely forgot about
his name.
that
I don't remember.
Oh god, what was his name? I can't remember his name.
Oh, chat. Do you know the name of the Team Flare leader? I think he was the main.
Lyson, like something like that. I can't remember.
And he owned a cafe. I do not remember that.
Owned a cafe? Did
Lysander. Oh yeah.
I was close.
Yeah.
I said Lyson.
I was about to say, I think the name of the professor was Lysander, but no, I think that was it, Sycamore? God, that game is
it was
faint.
Sycamore, I believe.
Yeah, it's so faint in my memory.
To be fair, yeah, that game is just a blur. It's like, what happened? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Lyson, like something. Lysandra, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude.
God, games.
Yeah, I hate to see that way.
And speaking, are you ready to go a little bit more philosophical, perhaps? A little bit deep.
Yes.
Because the next question is a little bit deeper, and that is, what inspired you to start gaming content creation, or what is currently inspiring you to do gaming content creation?
The deep questions, huh?
Yeah.
Honestly, sharing games with people is something I really like. Like, sharing a gaming experience with someone.
Yeah.
And I think this came to be ever since I was a kid, because I would play games and I would have like my cousins next to me, and we'll all just be like enjoying a game story together. And we'll like commentate on it, and like it would make gaming so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
So, in general, sharing like a game with people and like experiencing the game with someone is something that inspires gaming creation for me, the gaming content creation.
That's lovely. I love that. That's such a great part of like being a VTuber and streaming. It's like you get to experience the games with everyone. Like it's very different, like streaming and gaming with chat than when you're gaming alone. It's like, yeah, it's so much fun.
For sure, yeah. You kind of like share all the moments together, react to the things together.
Yeah. That's why it's especially fun. Like, at least for me, like going into games blind. You don't know anything about it. You don't know what to expect, and you get to like experience like all those like first time things.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I usually like try to like the very general information of like what type of game is this.
Yeah, that you need to know, of course, but like not knowing anything about the story. Twists and turns.
For sure.
Yeah. And speaking of experiencing games with all of people in chat, we have gotten some question submissions from all of you guys, the viewers, and these ones Chiaki hasn't seen before, so it's going to be a surprise. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. These ones are a little bit fun, a little bit random. Some are a little bit more thinking questions. And the first one is there game villains that you love to hate because of how well written they are? Yeah. There's like any they're just like they're so bad that just like you enjoy like having them as a bad guy, I guess.
Honestly, I love to hate on Rhea from 3 Houses.
Rhea, oh yeah.
Like, yeah, she's such a, like, you know she's a villain because she's acting sus the entire time, and I'm like, I know she's a villain. I straight up know she's gonna up to be something, you know? She's gonna be up to something.
Yeah, for real, for real. I cannot, every time I play that game, I end up choosing the Black Eagles because I want to play against, like, her as a villain.
I just wanna go against Rhea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. Like every time I played the Rhea route on accident. Actually,
accident.
Yeah, because I was trying to get into Black Eagles, but there's like that specific event you gotta do with Edelgar.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about that, and so I ended up on the church route. I think it's called like White Snow or something.
Yeah.
I just always call it the church route
Yeah,
because
me too.
it's the Rhea
Honestly.
route. Yeah. Siding
did you trust her?
Nah, I was like, I still don't trust you even if I'm here.
Yeah.
I ended up here by accident, but I still don't trust you.
Just constantly looking over your back, afraid to be backstabbed.
I'm like, what's she up to? When is she gonna backstab me? I'm waiting for it.
No, that's a great pick. I think like they wrote her as a villain really well. At least like too well for me that I literally can only play the Black Eagles route in that game. Or else it feels wrong.
Yeah, for sure. No, she was just. It was fun to hate her.
Yeah. Do you wanna hear a couple of my picks for this? Because I actually have a couple of ones that I thought we're done really well. So I'm a big fan of like Ratchet and Clank since my childhood, and I really enjoy like this is more of a silly villain, because he's also written with a lot of comedy, but Nefarious is like like evil robot. Villain that like is the main villain through a lot of the Ratchet and Clank games. Like through most of them, he's like either a villain or like a side bad guy. And they write him with like like not just a sidekick, but he might not be. He's a bad guy, but might not be like the main bad guy in every game. In the most recent game, he was technically like sub bad guy. I was saying, see, like a side bad guy, but they write him with so much comedy, and since like he's a recurring character, you get used to him. Like you enjoy like playing against him. So he is my pick. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's fun to laugh at.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have like those villains that are like written like so evilly. They're like so happy when they die in games. Like honestly, I feel like I don't know if you've seen God of War Ragnarok.
I've heard about it. Never played it.
It's like the Nordic gods are like a lot of opposition in that game, and the way they write Odin in God of War Ragnarok is like, yes, when you defeat him, it's like, yes, I'm happy now. I'm very happy.
I have done it.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil much in case like anyone in chat hasn't seen it or if they're going to play it in the future. But yeah, Odin and that guy is written in a very like convincingly evil bad guy way. I've seen people, funnily enough, people comparing to like a gangster type a little bit, like an old-timey gangster type, which is also like a little bit funny. But he is he's very well written. I enjoyed having him as the villain. Yeah, that's a really good question. I like it. Like when I saw like this mission, I was like, I don't often think about like which game villains do I enjoy.
Yeah, because usually they try to write them in a way that just like, you're just bound to hate them and not even like kind of have fun hating them.
But it's like it's good. Like good villains are extremely good in games. Yeah.
Sure.
And now we have another interesting one. Is there any popular franchises from 10 to 20 years ago you never got to play, but you're planning on playing now? That you were planning on playing in the future? Might be none, but...
I mean, how old is Atelier?
It doesn't have to be exact, like...
Yeah, because I would say like the popular franchises Atelier is one of those franchises that pretty old. And I always wanted to get into, but I never got into at the time. And I'm currently playing it, actually. I'm playing Verona.
Is it good? Are you having a fun time with it?
It's a really fun game. It gets really silly, which I didn't expect.
Yeah, I gotta love
it was gonna be one of those like cutesy games that then got pretty dark. But honestly, it's really silly, really nice.
Has a nice amount of comedy. I love it when games like put like a good amount of comedy in.
Yeah. And they just get silly. They don't have to be serious all the time.
Yeah. Atelier Gay started since the PlayStation 2 era, according to chat. I would say that like it's probably like over 10 years old then.
Yeah, then it does fall in there. Actually.
Yeah, no, that's a really cool pick.
Yeah.
And this one is your favorite game for a world design, like a game that has your favorite world design. So not necessarily, let's count this as not necessarily the people, but like the world, like the physical world, like the atmosphere, the plants, is there any game you enjoyed particularly for that?
I would say Mass Effect has a really cool world design.
The space world.
Yeah, the space world and how they like each planet has like a theme to it is honestly really good. I love how they expanded on all that.
Yeah, that's really cool. And they have like a comprehensive world, right? And the different games, like they add new places, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. And like there's like the lore behind like the different races that exist in Mass Effect. Like, it's a very detailed world, and the world looks absolutely amazing, despite the game being pretty old already.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I love that. Yeah. And you gotta appreciate, like, good space design, because I feel like there's a lot of space games, but not all of them go, like, really deep on world design. Some of, like, are, like, only in one spaceship, and, like, that's where everything happens, and you don't really get a sense of the world.
Like, they just have, like, there's a spaceship, and that's it. There's nothing else, even though space, you know, limitless possibilities, you know? You can do so much with it.
Yeah.
So, especially, like, Mass Effect because of that. You really get to see, like, other planets, you get to see the space, the spaceship, you know, very, very nice.
Yeah, cool. I like that. And I think for me, I just want to throw my pick in here as well. The Monster Hunter world. This like environment. Like so gorgeous. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. I played a bit of Monster Hunter on the 3DS. Yeah, it was honestly a really fun game,
Yeah, the Monster Hunter worlds are great. I played like Monster Hunter Rise first and then World. And Monster Hunter Rise is like the most recent one, and it's pretty, but that's like, Monster Hunter does like an interesting thing. They do console game releases, and they do like more like handheld arcade releases, I think. And I think like Rise is their arcade entry, and then Monster Hunter World is their most recent like proper like big console game. So Rise has like lesser graphics. Monster Hunter World like is very, very, very pretty, and like they had like a lot of different like environments on where you can hunt monsters. So you have like a jungle environment, and then you have like some like a coral forest environment, and or like a death cave environment. So, like they did like a lot of cool like environmental designs.
That sounds so cool. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Does you play Monster Hunter? Have you played Monster Hunter Stories before?
No, I actually haven't. Have you?
Oh no, I've heard it's really good, but I wasn't sure if you had played it before.
Yeah. No, I've heard it's really good, really fun. More like I guess like a more like a poppy art style, but Monster Hunter World like meant more realistic.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And let me see. Next question. Oh, have you ever bought game merchandise? Do you have any like game merch, like physical game merch, like that are not like the games themselves? I guess.
I mean, I have a figurine from Three Houses. Does that count?
Oh yeah, that counts. Who do you have a figurine of?
Dimitri.
Dimitri.
Yeah. I'm Blue Lion's team, so technically we are against each other. We picked the opposing houses.
Yeah, but it's cool. He was like probably my like cool. He was one of the coolest looking characters in the games. I was always sad that you couldn't like recruit like the other opposing team leaders into your own team.
Yeah, because it was all about like the conflict between the three houses.
Yeah, no, that's
technically
cool.
Or technically the two houses and Cloud is there, I guess.
Yeah, but you can always like recruit like everyone from like the other houses except for like the leader and the sub leader.
Like the retainer.
Yeah, the retainer. Which is why I always chose like Black Eagle, because Oh god, now I'm blanking on the name of my favorite character. The retainer for Edelgard. Hubert! Yeah, oh god, Hubert. Hubert is like one of my favorite characters in the game. And I didn't want to pick a route where I couldn't recruit him over.
Or you can't recruit him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only retainer character you can recruit is Hilda from the Golden Deers.
Oh no, she's not a retainer, right? It's only like the...
She's a retainer in spirit and name. Cloud technically doesn't have a retainer, but she's kind of like a retainer in spirit.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they kind of had to have everybody have a retainer. So technically, Hilda is a retainer. It's not as a formal retainer as Hubert and Dudu are.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Now, just like great shenanigans. And let me see the final viewer question. Is what do you think about the big gaming news presentations? I was like, how should I formulate this from your question? And this it's like what do you think about like the big game announcement things like the Pokemon Directs, the summer game shows, E3 when that was around, like Gamescom opening night live that is happening soon, like those type of like big gaming presentations.
Yeah. I personally really enjoy them. I do like seeing like, oh, what's gonna get announced this time around?
Yeah, God, you're so filled with anticipation every time it happens.
I mean, honestly, yeah, sometimes you do have to keep your expectations low, because, you know, if you're like, oh yeah, this is gonna get announced, this is gonna get announced, all the stuff that I want is gonna get announced, and if it doesn't get announced, you're just like, oh.
Yeah, that's why I always think, like, I love them, I love watching them so much, but they're a double-edged sword, because every time before it happens, there's always a lot of rumors about things that might get announced, and you get, like, very excited, you hype yourself up, and then it happens, and you get like 2 out of 20 things that you wanted, and it feels like someone stabs you in the heart with a sword.
Yeah, especially when you start seeing the rumors. Like, there's one of those presentations getting announced, and someone's like, oh, this is gonna get released. I got my source because my uncle works at like X company. Trust me, bro.
Yeah.
There's always like those people going around. Like, yeah, trust me, guys. This is gonna get announced. This presentation.
Yeah.
I got a very reliable source. And then it doesn't happen, and you're just like, nah.
Yeah, and I think there's also like the things that people want so much that like you hope it's going to be at every presentation, and then you get like more and more disappointed and more filled with copium, which I think is like stuff like the Silk Song, like the Hollow Knight follow-up, that one, and Bloodborne getting a PC port.
My god.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the last Nintendo Direct, everybody was like, Tomodachi Life. Trust me, guys, Tomodachi Life is gonna get announced.
So much in the comment section when I was watching that live.
Yeah. I started to believe it due to how many rumors. I was like, yes, we're getting Tomodachi Life. And then we did not get Tomodachi Life.
Yeah, that's always the case. It's always the case. And like I feel like it's so sad. Like the thing I love and hate the most is like they always save like one of their biggest news for last. Like they will always like do a really big like hype trailer for like the final ones. I feel like most of the New Year presentations do that. And it's really cool if it's a game you're excited for. But let's say there's like 2-3 possibilities left at the end, and you're like really hoping for one of them, and then it's like the one you wanted the least, and you sit there like,
yeah, you're like, oh. Yeah. Ooh, no. That really hurts. Yeah, because they usually put like maybe something like at the beginning, they usually put something like people may want.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, people may want this title, right? And then in the middle, it's like a bunch of filler.
Yeah, there's like sometimes should be like really surprising thing, like really good things in there. But yeah, as you say, there's like a lot of filler in the middle, or like a little smaller titles, or like teasers of things that have been already announced. Sometimes you put in the middle, I think. But yeah, the really big stuff, that's the like.
At the end.
That would kind of like the presentation hinges on for me. Like if I get like the really big stuff I want, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just like waiting at the end to see what's the big thing. What's the big thing that's getting announced?
Yeah, but I still love them. You still love them, right? There's some hype. You always get some hype for game news.
Yeah. It'll get you excited to see what is going to be announced next.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to like temper my expectations for like the next really big one that I know about. Like it's the Nintendo thing that like just got announced for Nintendo News, I guess. Well, not Nintendo, but Pokemon, the Pokemon one. That
Oh yeah,
just
the
got announced.
Pokemon percent.
But the new like the next like really big like cross-platform one, I think, is like the Gamescom opening night live. Which I don't know if you know about that one, but it's like I think it's on the 22nd or the 23rd this year. Gamescom is a German games convention, and they usually have like a pretty big opening night live. So maybe we'll see new gaming news there. I hope so. I'm crossing my fingers so badly.
One can hope, yeah, that we see something good.
Yeah, I'm trying to like not get too excited before it happens, and then I'll be really excited if we do get something good.
Yeah, gotta keep those expectations low, so that way you don't get disappointed, and then get surprised when something good happens.
Yeah, real. And now we actually have reached the final question. So thank you everyone that submitted questions. Really appreciated. There were some really good ones, as always. And now the final question, we go really philosophical, because it is, what do you like the most about gaming? And you can answer anything you would like. There's no right or wrong answers here.
Ooh, this one's hard.
I also like how I said that as if there was a right and wrong answer to any of the questions we have been
There is a wrong answer. It's hard to tell you, Erika, I don't like gaming. Just leave.
Yeah.
Show ends. No, I'm kidding. What do I like the most about gaming? I would say it's the combination of how everything blends together, like story, music, art, and how you're able to like basically convey a message by combining all those things together. Like how you can use so many mediums to convey a message to someone. Whether it's just something silly or just something serious, you know. That kind of thing is honestly what I really love about it.
Yeah, and like the game devs like bring so many people from so many different like specialties together that are working to create like one cohesive, I guess, product and experience. And I think like I really like how like they try and innovate it, like the VR stuff, like bringing in more things. Like no, the VR isn't for everyone, and then also like adding stuff like improving like small things like the rumble of the controller sometimes like draws you more into the story. And yeah, they do a lot of cool stuff to like give just an amazing gaming experience.
Sure, like all the different innovations that have been happening just to make gaming like more immersive.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. It's such a great answer. Yeah. And that was actually the final question. Yeah. Oh my god, I can't believe we've been talking for 2 hours. Time has been just flown by.
For sure.
Yeah.
It went by so fast.
Yeah, I hope you've been enjoying yourself chat with me and the Chiaki today. And it is that time of day where I let you guys know who we're going to have on next week. And the guest for next week is going to be Prism Project's Gen 3 agent, Yura Rikudo, the Dullahan VTuber. So look forward to seeing her next week. Yeah. But this was everything for today, everyone. I hope you had a great time with me and Chiaki today. Make sure check out Chiaki on our channel. You can find the link in the description. She plays a lot of fun and different games, and you've been checking out like a lot of more like retro games, have you as well? Like as you say, Atelier and stuff.
Yeah. A lot of different types of games for sure.
Yeah. So make sure to check her out. She's a big gamer. She's a lot of fun. Yeah. And as for me, as always, I'll be seeing you guys next time. Bye. Bye.